How we doing, guys? Like I say, we're gonna just try different formats. We're gonna get right to the spread picks here shortly. I just want to preface: this is our Saturday build show. We kind of walk through our last minute processes, but this shouldn't be your last minute. This should be an exercise where you just see, three guys who love football, and we're gonna talk about what we want to do. We're gonna put our money where our mouth is, literally with these lineups, like we plan on playing these, builds in different structures. This won't be the exact lineup we put in, for legal reasons. Like, don't dupe us, please. Don't, What we are trying to do is build out a process. And that's the whole idea, is not telling you, hey, this play is a good play. You got to go play this guy. It's like, why do you want to play this guy? What does this guy open up? So this week, for example, Mason is the big talking point for the 49ers. It's like, so what I want to do today is not so much play Mason or you got to play Mason because he's this salary, but it's why we're playing him. It's what he opens up. How do we do it different? So that way you build a whole, you build a whole structure of a team. You don't just play one guy. I don't like that when people say, well, this guy's a must player. He's a top play. Even if I knew the top plays, we talked about it last week, it was Tyreek Hill and someone else. If you just played Tyreek Hill and you wasted a bunch of money somewhere else, it wasn't worth it. Like, you have to hit your value plays, and then you have to pair it with other smart plays. We talked about before the show, because we're going to get into our best bets here in a second. Our show pick is going to be the Colts against the Green Bay Packers, and we don't want to play Willis. So that's a way that if we think that game's going to hit the under, which we do, and we think it's just going to be a landslide game, just because Malik Willis is a value on DraftKings, you don't go and play him. There are things that just don't make sense or aren't worth the risk. So speaking of risk assessment, I want to welcome in the guys so we can have this discussion. Gov, Donnie, how are we doing?
Doing good. Having a good day. It's a nice, beautiful Saturday.
Yep. It was a great Saturday for me.
I do like this Saturday setup. I really do. It's been working out well. People seem to like it. We don't talk a lot about it, but like I say, please like and subscribe when you can. I don't want to make this into a big to do, but it does help us out a lot. We did pull up a number generator here. We're gonna randomly choose our order for the show, basically, where we go through lineups and picks. But why don't we do that now?
Yep. What's everyone's number here?
I always pick a number of one of my underrated players.
69.
Not mine. I'll go Roy Williams, number 11.
All right. I'll go 17. It's 42, which would definitely be Gov first. Me and then Logan. Now, we did forget about it last week a bit. We caught it, but we do have our group pick. I think the lock of the week that we always get wrong, especially at the start of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Stone cold lock. Not going to happen, basically.
Yeah. Indy -3 is such a great number. I don't see a world where Indy loses this game. I don't see a world where it's not more than 3 points. Indy would have to play so astronomically terrible to match Malik Willis' terribleness that I just don't think it's possible.
We were so
I
confident.
also agree they should win by at least a touchdown. So I will take the points.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this bet. But the fact that all of us were okay with this bet now makes me not okay with this bet. So understand my thoughts on this.
If it was Willis the whole game, I would be with Donnie. I think this could be a 14-point spread, one of the rare double-digit spreads. Truly, I think Willis might be one of the worst quarterbacks.
He couldn't start in the UFL.
I honestly don't think that's hyperbole. I honestly think that he is an athlete, but he's more like a Taysom Hill type of athlete, not a full-time dedicated quarterback. And, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and it'll be a good Cinderella story. Just like when you see injuries and you never want to see them, that's the bad side of that narrative. So we never know, but this just seems wrong for me. I have to mention, we talk about diversifying your portfolio. We think this number is wrong. I saw it this morning at FanDuel at -1.5. so you didn't even have to lay the 3 over there. So I don't know why. Donnie, you said you would bet this up to 14. I couldn't go that high, but I'm with Gov. This should be like
I
7.
didn't say I'd bet it. I said that's how high it should be. Like that's the number it would take for me to start questioning. Like,
For
is this
start
even worth
questioning
it?
it. Yeah. Truly, the only concern I have is maybe Sam Clifford from Purdue, I believe, who played with Jones from the Bengals and just set the world on fire with his passing, like a gunslinger. If he comes into the game late, maybe it affects it. But I want this number.
All right.
Um,
So that means it's up to me. First pick.
Yep.
It
You
is.
got
All right.
first pick.
I'm just going to get another one out of the way that I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Same sort of affair. I think this team should do very well and definitely win by a touchdown.
Okay.
Jets to cover versus the Titans.
Jets minus 4.
What number is it already at -4? Yeah, okay. -4 +4. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think they should win by a touchdown. Titans did not look great with Levis. They should have beaten Chicago, but Chicago's defense came to play and bailed Caleb Williams out.
Yeah.
But I still don't believe the Titans are good. Whereas I know the Jets are now angry after looking bad on Monday night against San Francisco.
It's interesting you say that, Gov, because the defense for Tennessee looked very good. So they're probably angry that the offense didn't show up because there was a couple of times where I thought Ridley
This
was
could be a very tough game, and this might be my loss, but I think the Jets are going to do this.
No, I agree. The Jets were one of my future teams I was targeting in the offseason. I thought they should be doing better. I expect better from them, but I also expect better from Tennessee. So I do think you could be right, but this could be a lot more fun than people think. I think.
I think the Titans have a chance. It really does depend on if the Jets can show up this time on offense.
See, and I saw enough from the Jets offense last week against a very good San Francisco defense. No one's going to deny that.
Right.
Like that was the Jets, who are very good, even with Aaron Rodgers, against a legit Super Bowl contender and probably the NFC. Unless Detroit stops them, probably the guy coming out of I would bet coming out of the NFC.
Look,
Philly. Like it's between me, it's San Fran and Detroit. The only way Philly gets in is if they play San Fran and Detroit play each other before the title game and then get beat up, and then Philly comes in and wins. But that's my top 3 in the NFC. So like, I think the Jets lost to like one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the league when they're like a 12th team in the league, a 10th team in the league, maybe if Rodgers is playing really well.
I think everyone was overestimating the idea that Rodgers could have played last year. So then now that he's like back and this is a new season and he's had all this time, like he's for sure going to come in like Wolverine and be ready to go. Look, even if you're physically healthy, there's still an emotional roller coaster that comes with overcoming an injury. We saw it with Kirk Cousins, last week as well, and people were like, "What's wrong?" It's like, they're coming off of major injuries at an advanced age.
Outside of that, Brady had that issue when he first came back from his ACL tear.
Right.
And he was bad when he first came back. It took a bit.
And that's the thing. I never looked at nerves as a bad thing. I do think you have to weight them. Like when we decide if we want to play a guy off of injury or, you want to make that assessment, whether it's worth it or not, whether it's too sneaky, enough value, these type of things. But you do have to factor it in, I think, when they come off of injuries. It just happens. And if you don't, I think you're doing yourself a disservice.
All right, let's move on to the next game. We talked about them a little bit while Gov was having his whole spiel there. I think the Niners cover -4.5. I don't see how that offense pushes the Niners at all. Yeah, Minnesota, I don't think can push the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I do think Minnesota is awful, they kind of shocked me last week. They weren't as bad as I thought. Still, though, you're telling me the Super Bowl contender is going up against what I still have as one of the worst teams in the league.
There's so many 1:00 games today or this week. I think there's 12 or 13 of them. I missed it.
There's like 9 or 10.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton. I will say, Addison being out for Minnesota does I do like.
Hawk is still out too, right?
Yeah, Hawk is still out.
Yeah, so they got Jefferson, Darnold, Aaron Jones, and guys.
They're going to run Powell, it looks like, and Naylor, the young guy. So a bunch of young guys. I obviously like Justin Jefferson in DFS. You guys will find out, I think, because he's going to get so much volume. Darnold looks very good, but I agree with Donnie here. This might be a team just to be like, I'm going to take the better team. Like, sure, Minnesota might be fun, but I'm going to take the better team.
See, and I think we're taking a lot of favorites right here.
4.5, right, Donnie?
Yeah, 4.5.
See, I think what happened was I clicked that so much in DFS in my DFS lineups, I couldn't find it on the sportsbook because that's just not a market I'm attacking, but I'm attacking it a ton in DFS. Gov, you have any thoughts?
Oh, let's see. Oh, I'm still trying to think what my second pick is going to be because, I kind of like that San Fran pick. Like he took two. This is what I'm afraid of is with this draft system we have. You guys are going to take the picks I like, and I'm going to have to scrounge for a game pick that I'm not really confident in.
Logan, you got next two.
This is why I'm kind of like I get the snake in the draft, though. Yeah.
Let's see.
Reverse order.
I don't really love anything this week where it's like I gotta play it, but let's see. Oh yeah, here it is. I was looking for the number stated. I want the Falcons at +6 against the Eagles.
I don't think that's awful.
No, the Eagles look good, but that was mostly off of Barkley, and I just don't know if the Packers' run defense is very good. We're gonna find out because they're running against Jonathan Taylor. I'm just gonna bet that the Eagles are still good, but they're not 7 points good. I think what's gonna happen is people are gonna overweight how good the Eagles looked against the Packers, and they're gonna underweight how good the Falcons could be given a couple weeks of getting used to things. They got a lot of changeover. Similar to what Gov was saying about the Jets, so I'll just save some time. You got a new quarterback. You have a quarterback coming off an injury. All these concerns, it's going to take a little while. But they got talent. Pitts got the ball in week 1. He finally saw some usage. Who looked really bad was London, but I expect London to bounce back. He was a first-round pick in best ball draft for a reason. People are, betting not just on week 1, but they're betting on the future. So I want the Falcons this week.
Yeah, I really, honestly, what I saw from the Eagles, yes, they look good on paper. Their secondary really did scare me. They were letting a lot of open passes go, and, they just weren't capitalized on.
Now, Donnie, I will say quickly, they were playing overseas. They did say the international travel messed with them. They said it messed with their body clocks, and they won the game.
Secondary was an issue last year, though.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. It's like, was that just a convenient excuse? We're going to find out. This week 2 in general is just a fun week because everyone's so excited for week 1, and we have such a short sample size after these games that we overreact a lot. So I really enjoyed week 2. We'll get more into that with lineup builds and how to get different, but I just think this is a fun week. Okay, so I'm snaking, right?
Yep, it's your pick again.
All right. Yeah, this is the one. Because I was thinking about which games you guys might steal from me, but I definitely want this one. I want the the Jags -3 against the Browns. They have a good defense, but I think their offense is atrocious. They're losing David Njoku, who I think is their best wide receiver. I know he's a tight end, but I think he's the best receiving option over Cooper, and they lost him. Their quarterback's still in shambles. Maybe if Jameis Winston plays, I'll bet on the Browns, but other than that, I want to fade them.
And that's a tough one to me. The Browns is so good they can win any game, honestly.
Yeah, that's the thing. If I'm trying to think. The Jaguars looked okay against Miami. Like if it wasn't for the ETN fumble, they might have won that game. and then they still almost came back, if not for a stopped fourth down.
That's my point. They had to have very unfortunate things happen. Like Etienne was literally walking into the end zone, and it's totally on him. It's totally bad ball placement and just not good etiquette, right? Just didn't take care of the ball. Like totally terrible. But that game totally different, and they still fought through it. And they had a lot of rookies and just a lot of youth and inexperience, and still performed really well. If that continues with Thomas, I could see the Jags being very scary good.
Yeah, I have a couple games I like here.
Get your second one in.
But I think I'm going to attack the actual just worst, horrendous team in the league. Give me the Commanders minus 1.5. There is no way the Giants can defend that offense.
I thought about it. It's going to be like a sloppy Big Ten 90s kind of football where you just see a bunch of rushes, I feel like. For some reason, Dable likes, Singletary to rush the ball still. We know what the Commanders want to do with their run game. This game isn't going to be fun, but I do think the Commanders win easy. Is that just why you like it, Donnie? The rush?
Yeah, I literally just do not see how the defense can defend that Washington offense.
So it's just not sexy. You don't like it, but it's going to produce.
Even though Washington is also straight ass.
Yes, but they're not
really
the worst
not
team in the league.
Valid.
That's Donnie's point.
That is fair. That is very fair.
You can be bad and not be the worst.
That is a very fair statement.
In all honesty, though, that's what we do. We take the bad teams and we make them interesting by betting on them. And there is a good leverage to be had when you can find that ugly game that no one's talking about, and you can find value in that.
Yeah, and I could have been a homer again and picked my Patriots.
Right.
Because that was in my mind.
Like, not to be biased to the NFL, just to use this example, like when college football comes on, whoever has the big, the big noon game on Fox, that game automatically just gets more upvotes and more bets coming in before noon. It just happens. It could be so. It's the marquee games are going to get the marquee attention. That's why like the Tampa Bay Lions game is hard to get in DFS. It's hard to get DFS stacks because you don't have really known rushing quarterbacks. There's nothing that's really known. There's a lot of unknown, but they're all priced up, and I think that's one of the reasons.
All right, last pick. Give it to us, Gov.
See, here's the fake out. I'm not taking a favorite here. I'm taking an underdog. I'm taking a crazy bet. I'm going whack job on you. I'm going straight whack job on you. Scroll down. I want to make sure I have the number right for DK.
Fair enough. I wasn't ready.
Scroll down until I see it. Hold on.
I also
stop. Same number. Yep. New Orleans +6 at Dallas.
I love this.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Oh yeah.
I thought about taking it.
And I fucking hate the Saints, but like, this is that week where Dallas like fucks up. They're at home. New Orleans had to play in the dome. You saw what they did last week.
Mm-hmm.
If Dallas doesn't come out firing, this will be a weird game that everyone will say. And whether or not New Orleans wins or just keeps it close, I think +6 is a solid number for me. I'll take it at +6. I would love 6.5, but I'll take it at 6.
We're going to find out very soon because this reminds me a lot when Ben Johnson was hired by Dan Campbell with the Lions. No one really expected much. He was like this cool young guy. It was like, oh, he looks really young. That's what people kept saying. And then his offense just kept getting more and more creative and more different. And like people were like, oh, they put up a lot of points in week 1. I could see that with the Saints. Allen was known for defense. Everyone just expected this like sloppy, boring game. The Saints ran the most motion of any team in week 1. They had just a lot of creativity. They had, Taysom Hill involved in the game in different ways than people thought. He almost caught a touchdown pass. Didn't throw one, didn't rush one, almost caught one. they're at least trying unique things with the Saints to be different, and that's what I like. So he caught a 61-yard bomb in the first quarter, and not only that, but Derek Carr looked efficient. I was impressed with this offense. Kubiak, the young Kubiak, just he looked good. He looked like his father would be proud of. The generation was definitely there. The pedigree was there. Also has ties with McVay. I like it.
All right, I think we got a good set of picks there. And remember, everyone, we went full 500 last week, or a little over 500 because we had one push. As long as you exclude the show pick, which you should also always do.
Yeah,
You're parlaying our picks, make it a 6-leg, not a 7-leg.
And just to be clear, this week I'm going 2-0 and I'm keeping my lead. So.
I was going to say I'm going 2-0, and this is going to be a fun race.
And this is entertainment only advice, of course, just for fun. You should bet within your limits. But seriously, I do think we give out good lines and good advice, especially given how late in the week we do it. It's harder to bet later in the week. So, take that with what you will. But these are fun bets. We obviously have a side pool on the side for the Super Bowl showdown slate, as we mentioned a couple weeks ago. So that's why we're tracking it. Hopefully you guys track it with us and have some fun. If you have any other bets you want to put in, we'll highlight them. If you want to leave them in the comments, if you want to troll us after the fact and make fun of us while you thought something was silly, leave that in the comments as well. We can highlight that on our next show. That would be lovely. Okay, so we're going to do our normal draft, right? And I really like what we did last week. Is there any other unique ideas or any other better ideas that you wanted to maybe think about doing before we lock those two ideas in?
We got a couple comments. I just want to point out that any Wan'Dale Robinson love. I will say
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see for one. But me and Logan loved him his rookie season, and the offense just isn't there. I think he's a great player, but he just has nothing around him that I trust.
Donnie, you said you don't know if it's there. I will tell you, he is in my personal lineups right now. He is in my placeholder. I would prove it to you, but proving it to you seems redundant because if you've known me long enough, you know I'm a fan of this guy. He had 9 targets. I'm a fan of targets. So there, I just gave away my receiving chops of the week. Here's what I do. I look at guys that I think are talented. They get targets. They get put in my lineup when they're too cheap. So Wan'Dale Robinson is definitely in my early builds for sure. That's a good play. Sneaky play too because Neighbors is underpriced, and everyone wants Neighbors to be good. It's kind of like Harrison. Everyone wants Harrison to have that blow-up game. Wan'Dale Robinson is just a professional, and he's been a professional for a long time. I like it. Any crazy theory, game theory, different ideas you wanted? I really like that, value build and then reconstructing the value build last week. I really like it.
I think we should start off with that. Yeah, let's start off with that.
You want to start off with the value build? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I think it would be fun too
because I think we have a lot of value guys we can put in this week.
Yeah. So let's build a cohesive lineup with all of our value guys and see what's left over. Ideally, if we're actually using all of our value guys, we're probably going to have a couple thousand left over.
Right.
And then we'll just upgrade the.
We can definitely put Wan'Dale in there.
I wasn't joking. He wasn't my practice.
Wan'Dale makes sense.
See. If we're going value, you have to plug in Chalky Mason.
Yep, you have to get Mason.
I like Dobbins, but I'm also, or no, the other guy you have to plug in is Charbonnet. Or how much is Charbonnet?
Charbonnet?
Well, Ken Walker is out. So, yeah, Ken Walker is out.
Oh, he's out?
Yes. Is he out or questionable? Because I heard questionable. He's doubtful. Okay.
He's doubtful. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He hasn't practiced all week with the oblique or with the hip or groin or something. I forget.
By the way, our best ball shares, if you guys haven't watched those shows we live stream, our best ball shares are looking in good shape.
That's 2 mid 5K running backs. That's pretty good value. They're also going to be massively chalky. But I'm perfectly fine. Just if we're building a value lineup, let's do that.
Okay. So we got to go back to Yossi, right? He almost caught a touchdown. He got
as long as Higgins is out, they seem to want to just use Yoshi as the number 2. I'm perfectly fine going back to him at 3,800.
He's doubtful, just like Walker hasn't played.
Yeah. So I'm perfectly fine going back to Yoshi.
Could I argue trying to put Tyquan Thornton as a value play in there? He was on the field a lot. He
It's
ran
a
a
bring
lot
back.
of routes.
You can argue it. I'm gonna say no.
It's a
I
bring back.
think there is
And my
value
best
there.
ball shares would say I would actually agree with you, but I'm gonna say no.
It's a bring back.
I do think it makes sense just because he's running a lot of routes. He got
Okay.
only 3 targets
Let's
last
do it.
week, but they also didn't have to throw.
Before we throw out a Tyquan Thornton that may not be necessary, let's put in the actual projectable good value. So
Okay.
what's the next big value and know we can get? Who's
I
your
think
cheap
Robin-
tight end?
Mason,
Who's your cheap
Mason
tight end?
said.
I want to go with my boy from Carolina again, but I'm perfectly fine if we go with the Dallas guy or the Cleveland guy.
Let's let Donnie.
You want Akins or Shoemaker? That's
Yeah.
fine, but I'll take Sanders as well. So
let Donnie break that tie, which he thinks the better value is.
Who is the Cleveland guy this week?
Akins.
Jordan Akins.
Yeah, I'm not.
And then
And then you have so it's Jordan Akins, Jatavian Sanders, or Luke Schoonmaker from Dallas.
And he
Since
played
Ferguson is also highly doubtful. So
I would go Shoemaker.
Shoemaker
okay.
played.
I'm fine with Shoemaker too. Any one of those three is fine with me. So if he goes Shoemaker, you're good with that. Okay. So Shoemaker is our cheap tight end. Like I said, let's just put in the actual good value we know.
I'm so used to scrolling.
Again, I don't care about correlation. Let's make a value lineup that works.
Yep.
If it's correlated, better. That would make it look like it works better.
Shoemaker also played at Michigan. Reminded me a lot of Dalton Schultz. Obviously, playing in the collegiate level, you don't really know if it's going to translate, but did show receiving upside.
So it is Saints defense, right?
Yes.
Basically,
I think it's value.
No.
So I think we go with Minnesota. Like they're going to blitz the hell out of San Francisco and at least try.
Well,
they would
hold
be
on.
the cheap defense I would try.
You think
now? I think the cheap chalky defense is.
I think it's the Saints.
I truly think it's the Saints as well. I don't like the Vikings defense at all.
Like I said, Allen knows defense. If Kubiak really did fix that offense, the Saints might actually just be good this year.
See, I don't like any of the cheap ones. I like the cheapest defense I've been going is New England at 2,800.
Which is still good.
I don't like
but
now
that defense is very good.
Everyone loves the Rams game, so
yeah,
the Arizona defense is the leverage defense, but I don't like that at all.
No, I'm going.
And I'm the one who said I need to embrace more leverage in this year.
Yeah,
and no.
I did already play the Cardinals in week 1. It didn't work out well. I want to go with the Saints, and then we can upgrade. I think we probably will upgrade. They are the cheap defense.
I'd go the Saints, and then honestly, I really think
we
Stafford,
have a cheap quarterback.
I think it's Sam Darnold.
I'd say Stafford, man. $6K for.
I think Darnold. See,
I like Sam Darnold or Justin Fields as my cheap quarterbacks this week.
Actually, Fields is probably like the value quarterback. Like Denver didn't show me anything against Seattle last week.
Right.
Pittsburgh could have some more in the tank now that Fields, like you got to realize they were planning for Russ to be the starter, and then all of a sudden Fields is starting. And it kind of looked like the offense was built for Russ to start, and then they just sort of put Fields in it. So maybe now they'll have more Field stuff ready.
The reason I like it, you just hit on the last point. They didn't really build the offense for him. He didn't have any touchdowns and still almost had 12 points. And he's only
14 rushing attempts was like, well, I don't know if that happens again.
Yeah. So tell me you can find a better value, Donnie, and I'll play it.
I do think Stafford just has better game environment.
I think that 1,000.
And he has a better stack price. It's a 600 difference, and he has a better stack partner.
It is true. So, but we'll put in Fields just for this extra because I think we'll move up from it in a second. But so who's the other value wide receiver that you think we're missing here?
Well, see, like right now
we didn't put Yoshi in there. Oh, we did. Okay.
No, we have Yoshi in there. We have Mason, Charbonnet, Fields.
We could put Wandell in there. He had what was it? How many?
I thought I did.
I was actually thinking. Like again, it's Cleveland, but I was going to say Brian Thomas just because
we have two spots. We could do both.
There's also Shaheed against Dallas. Let's still
do both, but I like Thomas.
What's Shaheed's price?
Like 46.
Something like that.
No, Shahid's better play than the other one then.
Yeah, 46. You think I spend too much time on this website?
So that's a lot of remaining salary. That's better than
Well, again, I don't think we, and no one but you agreed on Tyquan Thornton, I'm pretty sure. I don't know why Logan plugged him in.
No.
Like, we didn't need that. Personally, just take him out, put in Cooper Kupp.
Well, that's
just like last week when we built the lineup. We had Tyreek in it and still had all the value because Tyreek was a value starting week 1. And like the massive value everyone's going to play is the underpriced Cooper Kupp. He's 7K, like mid 7K, when he's the number 1 guy. When he was like that last year or before that, he was a 9K player. I'm sorry, it doesn't have to be cheap to be a high value play.
And that's what we
is
want
the
to
best
do.
value play on the slate.
But that's what we want to do. We want to take all this junk food, all this value plays that people want to play, or like, hey, we got to have this. It'll taste good. And then we actually want to build a good lineup around the value. So that's it. Because I do think, I agree with you. I told Donnie, there's no way I'm playing either these 3 guys in every lineup. I'm playing Mason, Kupp, or Kyron Williams in every one of my lineups, guaranteed. You can roto-track me. I guarantee you I'll have that 3 combination in some order in every one of my lineups. Obviously, I won't be playing Kyron and Kupp. I just think that's bad. But if I'm not playing Kupp, I'm playing Kyron in every lineup.
See, I also like having one of those. There's actually 3 games personally that I'm like, I look at it and I look at the weapons in the game or weapons for a team, and it's like, I trust this team to score points, and it's going to be through one of these 2 or 3 guys. So very condensed field. And so I just want one of them in all my lineups. So like, that's one of my rules. And we'll get to those 3 games when we build. Like, okay, so right here, we have $7,500 left over.
Now, we were getting comments, Gov, that we should pay out for a tight end. I don't like paying out for a tight end normally at all.
That could be a place. Let's right now, like the 3 of us vote. Here's the thing I want. Type it in our chat if you can. Just so that it's out there. Who is the first person you want to upgrade in this lineup? I don't care the reason. I don't care if it's ownership. I don't care if you think this person's crap. I don't care. Who's the first person you put your money into? It could be the defense. It could be the tight end.
Okay, we're going to go private chat, right?
Yeah. My tab is not working right now.
I have mine ready. All I have to do is hit enter.
My whole tab is frozen for me. I don't know if you guys can even hear me.
Okay, just hit enter.
Well, I can hear you, but you are actually fully frozen on camera. So, all right.
I put it in.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we have the same guy.
For me, it would be Thomas. So I don't know who you guys put.
We both said Shahid.
We said Shahid. It's just the ownership. I think people are going to take it.
And they're both basically the same play, a 4K wide receiver. Okay, so we want to take one of those 4K wide receivers and upgrade. So here's the thing. In my thoughts for this week, I want a piece of San Francisco. We have that with Mason. We have the really chalky piece because he's the value running.
Logan, let me back in. I got to back out and come back.
Okay.
It's all good. I'll keep. So we've got San Francisco. They have the chalky play with Mason. And I don't think Mason is actually a bad play. Like, if they do what they do, they're going to run the ball consistently the whole game. He's going to probably get 20 touches. I don't know if he gets 26, 28, but he's probably getting 20 touches. It's going to mostly come on the ground, so I don't know how much true upside he has. But, like, Mason is still a solid play. That being said, I wouldn't mind getting to Debo if we got off Mason, but that means we're doing a 2v2 here.
I don't think we can get off of Mason.
Yeah, no, I don't either. So my next thought is I also love that Rams game because of the condensed offense. Like, with San Francisco, I know Mason's getting his. I know Debo might get his with no McCaffrey. And then I don't mind, like, having a one-shot of Kittle or Ayuk somewhere, especially if I were to, like, stack the whole offense with Purdy. Like, I like all of those options. The second game is that Rams-Arizona game. I love the Rams condensed offense. Like you said, I'm going to have one of Kyren or Cup or maybe even both in a lineup, and I might not have Stafford in that Kyren Cup lineup. I will have some Stafford. Stafford is definitely a favorite play of mine, but
yeah. It's probably actually a good sign that Donnie dropped off, so hopefully he'll be right back
I was
with
about
us.
to say, and wait for him to completely restart and come back in. Once
that's
he's up and running, then we can pull him in, but it's fine. So, like, San Francisco, I want a piece of that. The Rams condensed offense, I really want a piece of that. And then the other team I like isn't as condensed, but it sort of is. And that's Kansas City.
I love that game. I love the last
that Kansas City-Cincinnati game. I'm not sure I love the total game environment so much, but, like, I like that Kansas City games. So, like, that's the third game. And, like, my thought on it is, yeah, Pacheco, Worthy, Rice. One of those guys I want. Kelsey is a fourth that should muddle things up, but our statistics on it show that if you're playing Kelsey and he goes off, Mahomes probably went off for the kind of Josh Allen day you need. So, like, I'm only doing Kelsey as, like, the double in a Mahomes stack, whereas I will one off Rice, Worthy, or Pacheco in my lineups. I kind of want to have one of each.
I am playing a lot of Mahomes this week because the value is there. There's not always weeks where
there's also ownership. He's one of the leverage quarterbacks I'm seeing because, like, the total of that game isn't horrible. It's an afternoon late hammer, and he is the stud quarterback on the slate, technically, other than Lamar.
Donnie, I do see you moving around your back, right?
Yes, I am. I heard it all, by the way. I listened to everything.
Do you guys know what Justin Jefferson's price is? Because I couldn't believe it when I first saw it.
What's 87?
83.
Or 83. There it is. It's on
I
screen.
think he's just a perfect bring back. We can do it in this line. You can do it in your personal. It doesn't. I'm just saying Justin Jefferson without Addison, he's underpriced in my opinion.
I agree with that, but, like, personally, like, the first thing I would want to do is get, like, we have our Rams guy, we have our San Fran. I want to get my KC bet in this line. So I want you guys to vote on the three dudes. Worthy, Rice, Pacheco. Who would you want of those three?
Rice and Pacheco. Worthy, I'm afraid the ownership's going to be too high because we saw his highest upside game.
They're basically all in the 6K range, so we're going to – it's not like a price difference that much.
I just think Rice has a higher upside given it's a peer.
I also like Rice the best, but I'm not afraid of Worthy over Pacheco. I think Pacheco's 3 for me.
I like all three of those options. I would have Kelsey ahead of all of them, but you seem lowest on Kelsey.
I think if I'm doing Kelsey, like, I can see why you would have Kelsey because you also want to stack Mahomes. Yeah. I don't want to turn this into a Mahomes stack. Yeah. So I'm fine just playing one of the one-offs that I think can hit a big play. Or Pacheco, who can just get a consistent run in a game if you think Cincinnati's going to bomb. What about you?
I have no real preference on it. I would probably go Rice just because. I mean, I'd rather just get Kelsey in there at that point. If I'm spending that much, I'd rather just Kelsey.
See, and, like, I just can't trust Kelsey if I'm not doing a Mahomes stack. So, like, if you say we do Kelsey, then I would upgrade Schoonmaker to Kelsey, and I'd still be trying to get one of those other KC guys in, and I'd see if we had the money to turn Fields into Mahomes. Like, that's the way I would go with this lineup. It's like, okay, we got all this great value. Can I turn it into a Mahomes stack with Mahomes and 2 6K receivers? Like Kelsey and Worthy or Kelsey and Rice or even Kelsey Pacheco could work in my mind.
I just want this game. I think there'll be a lot of points. I think it's a good game. I just want some of this game.
Yeah, it is the third game that I'm targeting on my list that I want a piece of. Outside of the Rams game, which will be chalky, and outside of the San Fran team, which Mason will be highly chalky.
So, Donnie, do you disagree with that? Do you want a piece of this game, or are we totally wrong here? Because I think it just works with Yoshi as a bring back too to get some.
I mean, I want a piece of it. I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with playing Kelsey with that.
Well, okay. See, and like that's the thing. The statistical data we have shows that when Kelsey has his like 25, 30-point game, Mahomes is also going to have 30. And if Mahomes has 30, you're going to want him at quarterback. So it's kind of correlated. It's highly correlated.
The highest tight end or highest quarterback. I mean,
there's only like one dude who can break that if Mahomes gets to 30, and that's Lamar. At the same price. Like it's very unlikely. Stafford, I don't know. Like Jaden Daniels basically had his ceiling game last week. It was at 28.
So I got to break this, right?
Yep.
So Gov doesn't want to go with Patrick. This is actually a good exercise.
No, that's the thing. I want a KC guy, but I don't want Kelsey. I want one of the other three. Because if I play Kelsey, then I also want Mahomes.
Right. But you don't want to do that in this lineup.
Unless that's what say. Now, if you guys would say I wanted it to be a Mahomes lineup, like if Donnie says right here, let's just make this a Mahomes lineup, then fuck it, put Kelsey in and then switch Fields to Mahomes and see where our money's at.
I mean, I'm not mad at that. To be fair.
Okay,
that's the deal breaker. Then we have to.
Okay, that's the deal breaker. So just put Kelsey in the flex and put Mahomes in at quarterback and see where our money is. I know we have the money to do it. Like, actually, it's not like we don't have the money.
Kelsey is in a good range for the flex too because he's cheaper than a lot of wide receivers, and yes, he is a high upside tight end, but he's not even the most expensive tight end this week. So I like it. He's also a PMR option. We talked about the PMR being lower this week than most weeks, given how many options there is late. I think this is a good smash.
All right. So,
Gov, just quickly, you mentioned Patrick Mahomes' ownership being higher and how it would be foolish to not play Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey. How many people do you think will do that, though, where Patrick will be higher than Kelsey? Like, do you think Patrick?
I think Kelsey will definitely be higher owned than Patrick. I don't think it should happen. I think it should just be.
Right. But I mean, I know it's not like a super unique thing, but do you think that makes us unique enough? Because we are pairing it back with Yoshi, and I think a lot of people they won't do the Yoshi thing because he's like, we already did that and he was $3K. So even this $800 more feels like we're paying up for a luxury, even though I think you could argue he should have smashed last week.
Yeah, and he did not have the kind of game his volume warranted that he could have.
Exactly. His price tag said he paid it off, so everyone was happy, but he could have had so much of a bigger game. So I like that.
All right. So we still have $4,300 left. So again, now that we've done this Mahomes Kelsey, what's the next player you would want to upgrade?
I have an upgrade, a very specific upgrade I want to make.
Okay.
I would go up from Brian Thomas to Mike Evans. I just want Mike Evans.
I'm not totally against that.
I would be okay with that. It's just like, do we want a Lions bring back? Because I'm not sure it would be a running back.
Well, it depends. Like, how much we'll take out Brian Thomas and put in Mike Evans so we see what the money we have.
Yeah.
Because I don't know Mike Evans' price off the top of my
head. It's 75.
70. Okay.
He's a good price, but the problem is I don't know if I want Gibbs because Montgomery's involved. I don't know if I want Montgomery because Gibbs is involved. If it was a one-off and one of them got most of the volume, I would definitely take it. But I don't know if I want to replace the running backs in this lineup. It could be a good one-off, though.
See, that's the thing. If we could get... See, I'm not against, like, going double Rams. So, like, if we didn't want to play Mason or Charbonnet, we could still get up to a Kyron. We could still get up to the Connors. There's plenty of those 6K running backs that we know one or two is probably doing well this week. I don't think we have quite enough. No, we do have enough to get up to some of the 7K guys. Like, we could get up to. No, we might get up to Taylor.
Our comment
might get up to Taylor.
Well, the comment said that he liked paying up for.
We can get up to Brees. Like, we can go Brees Hall, who's also one of the 3 chalky running backs, and down if we wanted to change Charbonnet.
I do think double tight end is a great way to get off the running back jock this week.
It's a good point.
And I was looking right there. It's like, for us to get off Shoemaker, we only have the $4,500 range, and we could do that at the flex. But it's like $4,500 flex is just below the Brian Thomas and the Shaheeds we already had in there at value.
Right, you'd be looking at Wendell
that means I have to go to like a Wandale,
Yeah.
And it's like, do I really want to have Wandale over Shoemaker? I don't actually know. So, like, if I'm almost inclined to saying, okay, now we can just play whatever defense we want. Do we want to play like the Indy defense against Green Bay? Just upgrade that with our 1,600?
Yeah.
Or like at this point,
Yeah,
we don't
yeah,
need to take
we
a shot
could.
on the Saints defense as a min salary.
Yeah,
Like, we have
let's go to
1,600, but the lineup seems good in my mind.
let's go to the Indy defense for sure.
They have a game stack in Cincy, Kansas City with Yoshi on the other side. We have the chalk running backs and chalk cup, but then we're taking shots with Mike Evans, shots with our stack, which should be low owned. So like we can play up for a low owned defense.
I do think Indy's actually going to be lower owned than they should be because people are going to be like, yeah, Willis, but they won't want to pay it because they'll see the Saints got 10 points for like 1,000 less, and that $1,000 is going to be a big difference.
So like I don't mind having the 700 here, or you could play around with that $700 if you didn't like the tight end, or maybe you wanted to turn Kelsey into Rice. You have the money to do that. Like you could still do whatever you wanted with this line. Like so, like I don't mind saving this with the $700 left over. Like that's a good value lineup.
You could also
who are the other tight ends around that price? Like let's see who else we can get
up to like 3,800 or or 36.
You could get Cody Parkinson. You could get
you could do like the Kobe Parkinson. There's a few other cheaper tight ends that are in that range. And that
I would also say you could take out Mike Evans in this.
Ertz, Conklin.
What is Parkinson's price at?
3,100.
Yeah, see, that's so cheap.
Well, I was just gonna say you could take out if you wanted to play really contrarian. You could take out Evans, get up to Jamar Chase, and then you would get off of Yossi, obviously, because you're saying the game goes through Chase. That would be a way that you could do it as well.
Yeah, there's plenty of options you can do with this lineup.
Yep.
But I don't hate like with what we had. I don't mind just playing Shoemaker and leaving.
And this is the way to do it too, because we have Kelsey in the flex. He's the late, the 4:00 game. I mean, people probably should know at this point, but definitely make sure your PMR guy is in your flex if possible. It does make a difference, especially
the highest priced PMR guy if possible.
Yeah, especially the highest price. Exactly. You think it doesn't
gives you the most flexibility. Like if something weird happens, if some news happens, you can adjust in any way that you have the money.
And Donnie had a late sweat in week 1. I don't know if he wants to talk about it, but he did have a sweat in week 1 where he was maybe thinking about roster changes. So they do happen. So just bear that in mind, guys. Do we want to get on to our normal draft lineup?
Yep, let's do our draft. Because now I'm kind of fired up after building that. you guys kind of shut down my idea. So watch me snake and get exactly what the hell I want in this line.
And we've been using
it. Actually is going to be the reverse order of the.
Yep.
What they call
it's reverse order from the pick. So I will get the last in the draft and get the snake. That means Logan.
Logan goes first.
It also means
who is your number one play?
Skill player, because we don't take quarterback, just in case anyone's not.
We have to go at least one time through before we take quarterback.
We have a lot of new live viewers today, so I appreciate that as well. My favorite play, I don't know if you guys, Zach Charbonnet does make it interesting. So, I'm just going to plug in Mason. I think he's the best play. I want to make sure we play him. Honestly, here's what I'll say really quickly. He should be 70% owned. He's going to be like 40% owned. People are going to scoff at that. He's still underpriced for what I think he could do.
Yeah.
I'm not actually against that. I was really hoping we'd go some other way with Mason. But okay, we get a San Fran piece. Checking that one.
Yep. Give me St. Brown.
Ooh, Nika the Sun God. Luffy in the lineup.
St. Brown is the only line I think I would play with confidence this week because it gives you
the Pirate King into the lineup. Okay.
It gives you an ownership difference too. That's why I like it.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
I'm fine with playing a guy, a top receiver that failed the week before is going to get ownership the good way. I love playing a guy off a bad game.
He was 900 more last week too. So
I'm going to make it quick to you, Donnie. I hope you got your second guy ready.
Logan,
mini stack.
Evans,
Yoshi, Xavier Worthy.
I like it. I wanted to get some Worthy, but I didn't have the guts to go back.
I wanted everyone to pick Worthy as the Kansas City guy because he was the cheapest. I understand that's probably going to, with that and his performance last week, I could see why he might be the darling. and Rice might be the better play, but fuck it. Yoshi, worthy. Let's go.
It was a special week that Donnie was ill, so we did a special show. We did a showdown slate for that week, and I was all over Worthy. And now it's just I feel like the ownership might be so high that.
And I'm willing to eat the ownership. But you're picking
You put
ways to
Irwin.
eat
You
the
put
ownership.
Irwin, not Yoshi.
Who the fuck? No, don't put the Crocodile Hunter in there.
That's
Put
why
Yoshi.
I went to the roster so I wouldn't do that, and I still did it. So muscle memory
All right.
failed me again.
All right. This is a quick one. Okay.
Yep. Bye.
Calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down. All right. What you got, Donnie?
Bye flex spot because we're just putting Mike Evans in this one.
Mike Evans. I knew if you left it for Donnie, he was gonna take it. That's why I was just gonna.
See, now I'm hoping you do the right thing.
If I do the right thing,
I'm hoping you do the right thing.
You want me to take Baker?
No, that's not the guy that I really want to see in this lineup now. What's the? Think about it. I told you there's 3 games I want a piece of.
Oh yeah.
I put mine in. You put in with your first pick the first game. What's the other game? What's the piece that has to be put in now?
I don't know if you guys will.
Like, I'm fine with it.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how we're gonna fit
I know what I'm gonna
do.
do.
We know how we can fit it. We've got a cheap tight end and a cheap defense to fit it.
I don't know what you want me to do, but I know what I'm gonna do.
That's what I want you to do right there.
Okay. Yeah, I told you. Kyron
right.
Williams was.
This is going to be a little chalky right here.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think people are going to be playing enough that Kansas City-Cincinnati game, so we get our leverage there.
Our first build is so different. Like, we went 2 tight ends, so like it's okay to show people a chalky build.
All right, Logan, you got another pick. We obviously need some value here.
Yeah, we basically need like a mid-price tight end and a mid-price. Like, if we spend $5K, $6K between that, then we can still get a mid-price quarterback, and that's fine.
Let me check something a second. So Bellinger's still playing. A lot of people are on Theo Johnson. I didn't see it. Let me go to Sanders.
All right. I'm fine with my boy.
He got 75% of work. The only problem is
we ran a lot more like 3 wide receiver because we only had the 1 tight end. Right
now, they're gonna get Trimble back, right? That's what scares me. Trimble might play this week, but we'll see. I want to go back to it.
All right, can you just?
Donnie.
I gotta pick the quarterback here, but can you just put in the cheapest defense
you
so I know what we can afford?
Yes,
no, I'm gonna shoe us. Okay.
Oh, so you picked the Cardinals defense?
I'm shooing. No. I just need to see what we. I just need to see what we could afford theoretically.
Yeah.
If you put the cheapest defense in, you can get anyone but Lamar.
Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
The Lions defense is going to eat them up. I'm just telling you.
I have a feeling, but with Amon-Ra and Evans, we've got that stack sort of set. Like, I put in my favorite game mini.
It is a good.
He just put in like his game stack. Okay, so take the Cardinals out, and what defense? And I can play any defense I want.
Yeah, you can play any defense you want.
Cool. Go up.
I like
just play the Ravens defense.
Interesting.
I think Vegas is in like Vegas is if they're not the Giants and the Panthers, then they're Washington. That's how bad they are. Like that's their level. If they're not the worst team in the league, they're in that next tier down up. But yeah.
We were fine with that. Okay. We were leaving 300 on the table.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah. I also like Henry.
You left 700 on in the first line. I'm perfectly fine with that too. Like leaving some money on the table. If you're going against people who are using optimizers, optimizers tend to just jam in points per salary, so they tend to always play the same salary.
I think the way the Chiefs game and the Ravens game finished, and because it was one of the first games that we kind of forgot about, I think we forgot about how much good leverage there is in that game. Henry didn't look great, but he still scored a touchdown. I love Henry this week. Worthy looked good in that showdown, so maybe people want to play him. But he looked good for a reason, to your point, Guff. He was big, he was fast, he was as advertised. And sometimes I think in DFS, we kind of want to get ahead of things, or we want to be like, oh, well, I was on it before anyone else. And sometimes, to your point, Gov, you got to just be like, I see it. There's something special with him. I see it. I want it. Eventually, his price is going to get to a point where I can't afford it. And this is one of the rare weeks where we can afford almost anything you want. There's very few weeks where you can go with a Patrick Mahomes, a Travis Kelce, and still feel very comfortable with a another mini stack. And this week is one of those weeks.
Yep.
Did you guys want to build another one?
We can.
No,
I have a couple more. I have another value play I want to talk about that we haven't spoken about at all.
Yeah, you got a favorite value play we didn't hit on?
Cortland Sutton had 12 targets last week. They have now another receiving injury with Valet out.
Valet is out.
Cortland Sutton is value. He's getting 12 targets last week. His targets are probably going to be right around there again against a Pittsburgh defense that is going to force short stuff.
Not even that.
It's pretty damn good. They're not going to force short stuff. They're going to get after you with Watt and the boys.
Right, and Cortland Sutton's that short receiver.
And
I don't know. Cortland's like their only receiver. And Bo Nix missed him so much last. Like oh my God.
Listen.
Actually, no. This leads me to a question because I asked this of some of the guys in the Discord.
Okay.
And I have a feeling I might get the exact opposite answer from you guys. Guys. Season-long question, and I'll answer the one in chat here in a second.
Okay.
Cortland Sutton or Demarcus Robinson this week?
Sutton. Easy. No brainer for me.
Yeah, I'm going Sutton.
Robinson from everyone. And with this guy on here,
I think it's Justice Hill for sure.
I also agree. Like Justice Hill, Bucky Irving, at best, I think they get the same volume, which is secondary back volume. Justice Hill's probably more likely to get targets.
Yeah, and if it turns into a blowout, they don't want to run Henry into the ground. They showed us that last week.
Like I said, I think even at that, I think there's actually there's a lot of coaches saying that so much that I don't believe it because I didn't believe a word Sean McVay said about Kyron Williams returning punts and everyone being off of him, and then they fucking give him the entire workload because that's what Sean McVay does in his offense. He does things on the field, and he never says what he's doing in the media.
Well, Kyron did return some punts.
And he also got 90% of the running back work.
Right, no. But we saw last week with Derrick Henry. He was not out there as much as we thought he could be.
Well, they were also down most of that game.
Yeah.
And he is not the pass-catching back.
I'm going right back to it.
In games where they're up, I think he's totally capable of getting 20 carries. But regardless, I think Justice Hill and Bucky Irving, their usage should be about the same as a secondary back. And I love Justice Hill's game environment way more than Bucky Irving.
He is asking specifically for GPP, so let's give him some ownership advice. Like, who do you think is going to be higher owned? Does that matter? Like, actually give him the theory behind it. Like, is there any advantage to playing one or the other, considering?
I definitely think Justice, if that's the thing.
The ownership
I feel like the name recognition and the fact that the environment of the game that's getting chalky, like Bucky Irving's probably going to be more owned than Justice Hill. But you're also talking like one dude's going to be like 7 or 8%, and one dude's going to be sub 5.
Yeah.
So like it's a big difference, but it's also not a big difference. I think if you're doing that, you're still probably getting one more good leverage play in your lineup. And yeah, the Pittsburgh may have the best defense in the NFL. It's very close.
It's like the second.
We'll see later in the season, but like they're going to be carried by the Mike Tomlin in that defense, not by Arthur Smith in the offense.
But I wanted to correlate these 2 points, and not that they're related, but I think the theory of them could be related. If you're going to play the Ravens, Justice Hill, then you have to play it as the Raiders are going to push, because if you think the Ravens are going to win that game, it's going to be sloppy. I don't know if I go with Hill. Now, if you think the Lions and Bucks game is just going to be a fun shootout game, then maybe go with Bucky. But, that's what you got to play. For big GPPs, you got to play your slate correctly. You can't just say, oh, I like this guy in a vacuum. It has to make sense. And so I would have to know the rest of your lineup, to be honest, what I would like. Like, I wouldn't play Hill and Lamar Jackson, for example. I wouldn't do it. But if that was a way to get a piece of that game that you think is going to score a lot of points in a sneaky way, then I think it's fine. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Right.
I'm pretty much good. I know Gov kind of had a hard out there. We had the most live viewers possible. I told you I don't really like the shell out. This kind of like vote for me. You have to like our show. I will say this: if you liked our show, if you thought we offered a unique perspective, something different, you got something out of it, a like and subscribe goes a long way for a small channel like ours. I get so excited to share it with the guys when we have, even one extra view a week. So if you guys could be so kind to do that, it means a lot. Other than
Comment
that,
down below too if you have any questions. Like shit talk us. Like I want to see real people's comments
engage.
down below. We will respond. Probably. Like Logan will respond.
I will respond. Someone told me to cut my hair and shave my beard. I even gave them manscaping advice. So I will respond. Engagement is important. And that's the one thing about us, too, as well. You guys can watch on Tuesdays. We review these lineups, these exact lineups. If we make changes, we'll record those as well. We're very transparent over here. We're going to, we are going to win some, we are going to lose some, but we're going to tell you why. And that's the big thing for me. Well, with that being said, we got to get out of here. Have a good day, guys. Enjoy some college football. Think about your lineups, but don't overthink them. There's a time and a place where it's like, okay, I got to put the phone away. I got to stop thinking about this as much. But thanks for taking the time to think with us now. We'll see you guys Tuesday.